All right, so welcome. I'm Sitara Fe. We're here talking about Cosmic Bloom with my friend Eric. I'm going to go ahead and just open up with the prayer. And Eric right now is taking a minute to look over the Cosmic Bloom landing page. So as we call in divine truth and love into this sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for each and every viewer, replayer, Eric, and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Beautiful. All right, so Eric, to briefly explain to you, so Cosmic Bloom is, it feels like my newest baby. As you know, I've been doing the psychic work now for about 10 years, teaching people how to develop their psychic abilities since 2016, and had high-level intuitive entrepreneur training courses running $25,000 masterminds and above. And so now at this point had wild success with that and wild failures as I tried to expand into the corporate world with my teachings in that way. So what I have been wanting to do and what I have been saying is that I wanted to create a grassroots community that helps people, normal everyday people, rather than kingpinning CEOs and that sort of thing. It's like finding how we can help our communities, one, solve the financial crisis and problem that we're all facing in this world today, and also to be able to offer a community of like-hearted individuals that focuses on the expansion of consciousness, fun, play, community, and more. The Cosmic Bloom is really just the entry point. It's like the gateway that opens the doors to this community that has higher level options of commission-based learning. So we're able to learn and also make money by helping to enroll people. Part of my problems with this and why this has come up is because I've had a page with over 100,000 followers on Facebook completely taken down. At the moment, I have a group with 8,000 people that I am banned out of for unknown reasons. I always give very vague, unclear things. I've also been shut down from Google Ads, and I could keep going. They're like the business that I am in, or the expansion of consciousness, even just by using the word psychic, throws all sorts of things off. And so I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, well, do I keep shelling cash out for ads with Facebook or YouTube or Google? Or do I start connecting with my community and say, hey, I'd rather pay you, and I want to make sure that we are growing something that we all want to participate in, like you're saying, that's fun, that's exciting, that is really, my focus is heart expansion. How can we activate our own hearts? How can we facilitate as many awakenings as possible? How can we really start to break out of and break free of the shells that we have put ourselves in by not really understanding the truth of who we are, where we came from, why we're here, what the whole purpose of all of this is. So for me, Cosmic Bloom is like a playground for us to explore all of that with each other, while also being able to open streams of income. And so the initial with the pearls Cosmic Bloom, that is the lowest level entry point. But then, like I said, after we get into and get the ball rolling, we have, and I already have some of them set up, higher level commission standard points to be able to bring more income in, but by a step-by-step basis based on where people are. So we don't have to take a big jump or wonder if things aren't going to work, this and that. We want to just kind of get the ball rolling from the beginning. So that's a little bit about it. Now you know why I started talking a bit about taxes and why taxes are involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to hear from you if you have questions about the landing page. And really, I just wanted to open up a discussion about things that you would be interested in seeing, ideas that you might have, and really just having a more clear and open discussion about the possibilities that are there.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'll say what I'm hearing to see if I understand this correctly. So you have your activity already going. You had a page with 100,000 people, another one with 8,000 people, and you're growing your following and your business and your activity, and you're being shut down by Google, by Facebook, etc. So what I'm hearing is that you lost the ability to promote yourself towards your following and to seek new followers, new clients, new customers, new prospects, etc., people who would be interested. You have lost the means to promote your work towards the people who would be interested in it. This is what I'm hearing. And therefore you're thinking, instead of fighting against the big machine, which is very impersonal, and like with the support, like the hotlines or whatever, you think, all right, why not use the community? And so you are thinking about then having your friends, family, community, tribe promote your work and be and receive commission on whoever signs up with you. Yeah. And so I sent on your landing page that you have two packages. One is the pearls, one is the diamond roses, at two different entry points. I guess the first question for me here is, so if I want to participate in this program, so the idea for you is that you're offering the possibility, the possibility for people to earn an income through basically being kind of agents for you and like selling your products and your content. So if I understand correctly, here it looks like I would sign up, for example, for the pearls. Initiation entry includes. So I would sign up for that, pay $99 per month. Is that it? And then, and whenever I enroll anybody in that, I would get 25% referral bonus plus 7% second tier referral payout. I'm not sure what that means, but it doesn't mean that if someone that I enrolls someone else, I get kind of 7% on that. And it's this kind of pyramid thing where like you have these, yeah, okay. There's that model. Okay. And then there's the diamond roses, which is a different level. And so what I'm getting also from the first, like the pearls thing, it's recorded content that I have access to. You have a library of content that's available, and I have access to that, and archives, library, and there's two monthly group calls, readings. Is that what they are?
Yes.
Okay, great. And for intimate and specific questions.
When we do the live readings on YouTube, people are able to just kind of come on and say, I'd like a reading, and then we read what's going on with them, but then also what is connected to the whole field of who's going to be watching live, who's going to be participating and watching the replay. And so when we are able to actually have a conversation, and it isn't like a broad sort of experience, they're a lot more pinpointed, they're a lot more specific. So I wanted to give people an opportunity to be able to ask me specific questions because when we do the live readings, I don't have people ask me, well, this is going on with my husband, can you tell me X, Y, Z? I don't get that specific, because when we're doing a broad thing and hundreds of people will be seeing it, I find it much more helpful for everyone that's going to be seeing it to focus on just unraveling whatever that is that's there. So yeah, the group reading's a little bit more specific. The one thing that I wanted to add also, you did this lovely, like, oh, it's one of these things. Referral marketing and affiliate marketing right now it's the top growing industry. And for me, it's the first, and like, it's really the only viable way I see being able to pay hundreds of people. And if I can be responsible for opening up streams of income for people that are really struggling in a way that allows them to also include their friends and family, Now, the thing is that the $99 per month is also ongoing recurring subscriptions. So let's say you bring in 3 people, of course, but the 3 people will then pay for your subscription. So then you'll have access to the recordings, you'll have access to the archive, you'll have access to the in-person meetings, and your subscription is paid for. Above that and beyond that, all of it is money that just comes straight to you on an ongoing basis. So I've done a little bit of math and have a little graph there on what ultimately can be grown, but
show us the math, show us the graph. I like graphs.
It's really funny because I'm in the beginning of this, right? So it's handwritten.
Show us the handwritten.
I hope
the perfectly imperfect thing.
Yeah, I hope it shows up beautifully. But can you see it, or is it backwards?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. So if there's 4 people, if I get 4 people in, I get $132, and that's per month.
Yeah, that's per month.
So that is on top of that. I want to say that
none of this includes any second tier commissions. This is all just first tier. So this does not include anything that anybody else brings in.
Okay. And the monthly subscription that I would pay is already deducted from what you wrote there.
It's not already deducted.
So if I bring 4 people in, I make $132 and I deduct to that $99. So I make $33.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, these are beautiful numbers. These are beautiful numbers. Yeah, I know it's a model that works because actually one of my ex-partner's mother had been doing that for like Party Light and just selling candles, and it just really, really works. It's the Tupperware model that has worked like for decades. It's a model that really works. So yeah, but when I'm thinking about it, I know that these Tupperware, Party Light, and other big companies that are very successful that use this, they have a model, and they have the meetings at home, right? And people come at home and they watch the things, and you invite your friends, and people buy, and you make a commission. And then there's the referral system. What would I want to be promoting your programs? What do I have to promote it? Do I get to, because actually at the moment, I actually not super familiar with your program. I know that you do great work and you have a great impact in the world, but I'm not familiar with the specifics of your program because it's a different field from mine. So what would you be offering? What is this, some kind of like, I know that in other people who do referrals, they have some kind of training, etc. So what happens with you?
Yeah, the YouTube channel, available content for people to experience. We've got the new moon transmissions and the full moon transmissions. So and this is part of why, like, we're right in the beginning. So I love this question, and that's really what I want to flesh out, right? It's that right now we have the 1 and the 2 tier I haven't even created the bonus structures or the other, like incentives, right? But I want to bring people in right here at the beginning to help me create that in a way that feels really exciting to you. I don't really I do obviously have ideas, and I've participated in these models before, and I've actually been a closet MLMer for quite a while. And I was embarrassed or not wanting to really put it over the model of my own business, because I have these beliefs that it would hurt my reputation or blah, 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 because people have so much. I mean, people probably have more stigma around MLMs than they do around the word psychic. So I'm just like swimming up a stream here, like really. But the thing is,
oh my God, that's true. Google's gotta totally ban you.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, that's why I really want to focus on growing it from the inside out. But the thing is that when people do join my programs, I can't tell you how many people have genuinely said, like, you have changed my life. I can't tell you how many people and messages I've gotten from people that have like told me, I was in a really, really dark place. Like I was contemplating suicide, and I found one of your videos on YouTube, and it completely brought me into the light and gave me hope, and like really, significantly helped me. And I've been hearing these things for years. I've been doing this work for 10 years, but I started like putting it out digitally since about 2016, maybe a little bit before that. And like, I know why I'm here. I know why we are here. I know what the leading edge of consciousness is. I know why I'm being banned. I know why things are happening. And simultaneously, for me, it isn't about the money. It was, and I went through all sorts of things to wash myself out of that mentality. Let me tell you, it was horribly uncomfortable. And I did end up, when I came to Bali with $100,000 in debt because my employers hadn't paid me for over 5 months. My cost of living and cost of running my business in LA was really high. And let me tell you, like, once that barrel starts spinning in the wrong direction, it is really hard, especially with what was going on in my life, to pull myself up on top of it. But in going through that experience, and this was after I had made over $500,000 in about 3 years, then ended up on this spiral. So it has been quite an interesting journey and quite an interesting ride. So for me, being here, like I said, I was a little bit nervous before this call, which I don't get nervous before calls, but I know that there's something here. I know that there's something big, and I actually don't start putting things out until Spirit gives me the full clear go ahead. Like, let me know that this is going to be successful. Let me know that this is important. Let me know that, it's like I've crossed my T's and dotted my I's, and I'm like, is this the stream that I'm meant to create? Is this a stream that I'm meant to open up? Because like I said before we started the recording, it's like, once I commit to this, we're in it. Like, once people start getting money, I don't want to cut off somebody's stream of income just because I'm like, nah, I don't feel like it. Like, I can't
change my mind.
Yeah, like that's not there. So for me, and this is where I'm baby stepping. Like, I'm not over promoting it right now. I didn't even send it out to my email list. Like, I haven't even really started opening the flow. And part of that is because I also am growing with this. I'm like, okay, this is a commitment. I want to make sure that I'm co-creating with my family and my tribe, but also with the resources that I have to be able to say, okay, like, how could this system work better for you? What would incentivize you to bring more people in? What can we do to like co-collaborate? Because I've seen so many other models. And the really beautiful thing about this is that we're just talking about digital programs, right? So there's no like overhead of production. There's no cost of goods. There's no shipping costs. There's no like, it's literally just, okay, well, digitally money comes through, direct deposit comes through, show up for the classes, invite your friends. Like, I don't think I could make it any easier, but I want to make it more exciting for more people to participate, because the other lesson for me here is really learning to ask for help. And I couldn't think of another way to put my Wonder Woman cape down and say, I can do it all by myself. Because I know I could. I have people asking me right now to work with me one-to-one for high ticket prices. And like, I really feel that right now, this is where my attention needs to be focused, is really giving Cosmic Bloom this full chance to be able to start expanding and growing from like the core of the intention that it is. And that for me is equally exciting and equally like, it's keeping me on my toes a bit. It's like, it's time to really show up. It's taken me a couple of years to heal from the experience that I had in LA to, to be willing to show up for this level of commitment again.
All right. Wow, that's beautiful. That sounds both beautiful and really exciting. And it sounds like, the potential to be an enormous tribe and an enormous community of people working towards the same goal as you. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. I'm sure it's going to be really successful. And yeah. Do I have any questions? I don't have any more questions for you. I think it's really clear. I can hear your intention and the plan and the vision and the mission is like really clear. It's crystal clear. I guess now what I have to do is like go towards your YouTube channel and look at the videos and look at your content more in depth, and yeah, and see if it aligns with where I'm at also in this moment.
Sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
one of the that I did have as an intention for this call was to actually lead through a bit of a transmission. So is that something that you're open to doing?
Yeah, sure. There was just, I was noticing myself as I was talking, I was thinking, you got to say something that makes sense because it's filmed and other people like might see this. So it's like, then I went, I don't know what to say anymore.
Just do you, just be you. As you said when I got on, the
Well, that's
compliment
it. I'm being me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and but more on a more casual. No, yeah, I think it sounds. I really want to acknowledge you for doing this, and actually for doing the whole work of breaking through the money mindset and going through that, like being in making a lot of money, getting in a lot of debt, and then like having that whole money mindset thing. And this is also something that I'm working with at the moment. So it really inspired me when you put this announcement, the message that you put on Facebook. I went, holy moly, this sounds like exactly what I'm going through at the moment. I want to be around that, and let's see how she does it. And that will inspire me to like, and it will inspire me to find solutions to also what I'm doing at the moment. So, so yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and like I said, like the pearls and the diamond rose are just the beginning. I've been a closet Purium taker for, which I think is like US based. I actually have had I've paid over $400 to have it shipped to me several times since I've been on Bali because the product itself is absolutely incredible.
What is that again?
And Purium. I don't know if you've heard
Period.
about it. It's basically a supplement that helps people go vegan and eat less meat because of the composition of amino acids and everything that's in it. It's quite incredible. And so for me as blood type O, and I go back and forth with the meat eating thing, it's like, yeah, it's really, really helpful. Then the other one that I've been researching is with Kangen and their business model. It was actually after I saw the business model that was going on there that really inspired me, because of the way that they have it structured and modeled. So like I said, it's like the pearls and the diamond roses is just the beginning, but I can also set up another structure with the higher level. And like I said, I think the most that I've charged one client was somewhere around like $50,000. So this like higher ticket offering is not, it's not foreign to me. It's something that I understand and connect with. And so for me to be able to create, like a $5,000 or $10,000 offering that is maybe like an in-depth 6-month program where we go specifically through like divine masculine and feminine or healing the womb space or intuitive entrepreneur, like deep diving in how do we actually cultivate business, but to not just join those programs and also have the opportunity to make high level commissions to also refer and bring friends in. It's like there's the potential for more to happen. It's all gestating. Like these are all seeds that have already been planted. And so this is the beginning. This is the on-ramp. This is like me coming into it and not wanting to just create something and then hope people will buy it. It's like, tell me what you guys want. That's why it's a collaboration. Tell me what you guys want once you're in the program. How can we make this something that works? What is going to be interesting to you? What's also going to work for me? What are the skill sets that I have that I can teach at this high level? Because I actually do know how to help people make 6 figures a year with their own programs. I have one client that teaches people how to connect with the energy of dragons. And she was like, by the end of the program that she was in with me, already making over 6 figures. So and that's with teaching dragon energy and teaching dragon insights. Like these are things that we know how to do. So I want to be able to bring my skill sets and expand them, and really being challenged with social media right now. really. And I feel that I'm being challenged with social media in this way because that's not the direction that I meant to go. Right? It's like the doors close where you're not supposed to go. So then I'm going, okay, not there, not there, not there, not there. Oh, I have the technology. I'm already paying for this, like the subscriptions with the software and all this to actually be able to do a two-tiered thing. Oh, and I can also figure this out. Oh, and I'm also interested in crypto. Oh, and I also know how to like, there's a lot of pieces here that we're putting together. So the beginning of this for me is very exciting. And that's where I'm just focused on, you know, getting the first 10 people in. Once we get the first 10, 15, 20 people in, okay, let's have a conversation. What's working? What are ideas that you have? How is this coming together? Okay, once we get the next like 50 to 60 people in, okay, what's working? How are we working together? What's, you know, what can we add? What can we take away? It's really just fine tuning and priming the model and the collaboration in the community as we keep going, because we're able to move and shift and grow together and find ways that we can help each other expand in more ways than one. But ultimately, I do see this like digital revolution, it's kind of funny, happening behind our computers rather than on the front line. But as we know, as being like on leading edge of consciousness, we know that the energy that we're carrying is actually what changes more in the world than necessarily running around in protest. And of course that helps very much so, but there are other things that we can do with our energy body and activating our own consciousness that also shifts a lot in the world as well. So there's, a lot of layers to this. Very excited about it.
I'm picking up on what you said about like social media is the door is closing, and so it's more what I'm getting, like hearing this, what I'm getting is really this need that we have that has been kind of highlighted, the need that we have for connection and community that has been highlighted by having this taken away by the confinements, the isolations, etc., which really highlighted that we need community. And social media often, like it's community, but it's very broad, and I feel we stretch ourselves quite thin with a lot of like acquaintance or superficial surface relationships. And so what I feel that you're doing here is more like strengthening bonds with people that maybe you know through social media, maybe you know through real life, but it's kind of strengthening the bonds with people and creating a core group and kind of growing from that, rather than having Facebook ads, Google ads, and like Instagram ads, etc., which spreads really wide and that reaches a lot of people and that works. But clearly at the moment this is being closed down, and it kind of goes towards the need for community and connection with people that we are kind of not having so much anymore. Well, less of, because of less capacity to gather in groups.
Exactly. And like you and I were on Bali, it makes it easy to connect with like-hearted, like-minded people who are more open, awake. They've been awake for years. They're sorting out, you know, how do we heal the father wound? How do we heal this? Oh, if I want to expand, like there's an awareness of the self transformation and self growth experience. A lot of people that come to me are feeling isolated. They are having symptoms of awakening. They're having weird things happen. It's things basically that they can't give an explanation to. So then they come to me, or they go, oh, I'm so happy I found your videos. There's nobody in my life I can talk to about these things. That's the biggest I hear consistently, is there's nobody I can talk to about these things. It's like, oh, you had a dream about dragons. You don't just want to like pretend that didn't happen, or that was a part of your imagination. There's messages in these experiences, and there's more light coming to this planet and people that are ready to wake up than there ever has been before. So ultimately, and this was true with the Earth, I actually started with a book club, and the book club turned into the Earth Angels program, which was the year-long mastermind program that I led for 3 years. Then that led to, I had Intuitive Connection Academy, which was a monthly membership site that I had ongoing for a while as well, for a few years. And so it's like all these things, the consistent consensus with everyone that was there was, I'm so glad I have a place to be able to have these conversations. I'm so glad I have people that I can talk to about these things, because nobody in my community gets it. And I feel like I'm isolated and I'm losing my mind and I'm weird. And so
Yeah.
that is a huge component of the community base around that. And then, like you're saying, like the cold traffic and just people coming in from, you know, ads, I do believe there's a divine connection to that as well. But what I've seen in my heart of hearts is people being able to bring people in. And now I did this with the Intuitive Connection Academy. That was a $37 a month offer. And still, there wasn't a lot of referrals happening. There weren't a lot of people talking about it. And so it was like, okay, well, how do we actually spin that and focus on what can we do to support those conversations happening, right? Well, do you have a Tupperware party, or do you maybe have your friends come over for a new moon or full moon transmission when it's going live? See how you feel about it. See if you want to participate in it. Like, and how do we also create support for that, like the onboarding process or the enrollment, whatever you want to call it. It's like, how do we support our tribe in also being able to talk about it so that they're not shy or want to have all opportunities where they can, you know, have friends or family over, however it is that they want to do it. But ultimately, it is a rolling model that will continue to expand. And this is like not even day one.
I think you're hitting a really important point here when you say, how do we support people in talking about this? Because as you said, the number one thing that people tell you is, oh my God, there's no one I can talk to about this. I had this weird dream. I had this weird experience, and people feel shy to share this because then they get a strange look like, hey, what the fuck you talking about? and so this is why they don't dare talk about it, because maybe if they start talking about it, people say, hey, that's weird, shut up, don't talk about things like that. And so they look on the internet and they find you. And then I feel that then the next step is you want to enroll people and you want to empower people to be in there, to embody their experiences and say, wow, this is actually what's really happening to me in my life. This is my reality. I have these dreams, I have these things happen, and this is my experience of reality. And a lot of people have a lot of resistance to that. And so how to support people opening up and doing kind of a coming out and say, hey, my experience of life is actually slightly different. And this is what's happening. Sometimes I see things, sometimes I hear things, sometimes I feel things, and it feels really, really real. And I'm not on drugs, and I'm really, this is really my life. And so how do you support people in doing that? So I'm assuming that this is the content of your program, but I really wanted to kind of point this out. Yeah, how do you support what you just said? How do you support people in talking about that and saying, hey, this is actually the reality of my experience of life, and if there's anybody out there having the same thing, come speak to me, you're not alone. let's talk about it, let's have community, and let's just share our experiences and just reassure ourselves that we're not weird, we are, this is really happening.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things also that I hear from my clients that are I run the Metaphysical Club right now, which is our advanced level training course. I've been leading that class actually for over 3 years now, like 3.5 years now, consistently. It's been a really beautiful ride. But a lot of, like, some of them in that group, like they've activated their light language, they're channeling on a higher level, they're aware of their guides now. They weren't when they came into the program. So they've had really beautiful soul expansion experiences. And still they're going, I don't know anybody in my area, or I don't know this or that. And the funny thing is like, you might be sitting in the coffee shop. I was just sitting in the steam room last night, just toning as I do. I wasn't even like channeling, I was just toning tones. But I knew there was something in my consciousness that was going, I'm setting out a beacon. I don't know why I'm setting out a beacon, but I'm setting out a beacon. And so there was this guy that had come in and he had started channeling light language 3 years ago. He's 28 now. He started when he was 25. He's like, I don't have a lot of people to talk to about this. It's really refreshing to meet people. And we just met in the sauna. And I'm like, okay, this is why I'm here. This is what this is about. And so the thing is like, we often roll around very quiet about, I'm very open about, I'm very like, this is what I do. What do you want to know? But there are so many people that like, you could be sitting at the coffee shop and your channel, you did readings out this morning. Maybe you channeled your dragon guides. And then you have another person sitting at the coffee shop and they're being secret and silent because they, for whatever reason, feel they need to put themselves in a box, but you're in the same room and you don't know it. So how do we start even just giving more permission to, you know, say things like starseed, or say things like indigo children, or say things like consciousness, or say things like light, like there's just little key words that you can say. And he had heard me say channel before. Like I was talking to someone else, I was actually on Lambongan and I was channeling for about 6 to 8 hours a day. And I was just kind of briefly talking to somebody else and he had overheard that. So then he went, wait, you said the word, what do you do? What's going on? I want to know. And so it's like, that expands my network. And he's like, I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm like, cool, I have a whole tribe. Like, I'm happy to loop you in. Let's start talking about it. You're not alone. One of my favorite movies when I was little, did you ever see the movie The Borrowers?
The Borrowers?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's called differently in French.
It's these little people that live under your house, or that live in your house somewhere, and they borrow the things in your house so that they can live. And there's like this family that lives in this house and they know the little boy. The little boy is actually helping them. And then eventually they have to move, but they have to move. And then the dad is like, well, like there's a guy that's trying to take the house out and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a whole drama. But then the dad is like, we gotta call in the tribe. And the mom's like, do we? Like we got really good at like keeping our kids over here sheltered, whatever. And then they end up going out like through the drains of the city or whatever. And they end up finding all these other borrowers, all these other tiny people that are living in the city, but the kids had no idea they even existed. So then it's like a whole borrowers reunion of all these little tiny people that are living in the city. And I think it's so funny. Like I watched this movie over and over and over again when I was a little girl. And now that I am an adult and I am a light worker, and I'm like, where are my psychic people? Like, put your hands up if you know that you're here to do something to serve like the light of humanity. And like, let's wake up. Let's speed this process of awakening up so that we know what we're here to do and who we're here to serve, and that there is like a large community for so many of us to be able to tap into. And even that part of the Diamond Rose program, there's a program in there called Grow Your Soul-Centered Business. And I literally break down an entire business model of how to make 5 figures a month, just working with people one-to-one. And by working through word of mouth, which is how I grew my business in the beginning as well. So it's like, it's support in that way if what you want to do is have a one-on-one sort of thing as well.
That's interesting. Does it work for breath workers?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a model where it's a model of pricing. It's a model of confidence. It's a model of how to have the sales conversations of, because the thing is, if you're good at what you do, it like the word of mouth just happens. I had it at a price point that was set, that was pretty, it was like $1,800 package for 3 months. That's like part of the model that I have there. And it's like the word of mouth would pick up, and it was enough of a fee that it makes people have skin in the game. And if people have skin in the game, they're willing to do their homework. If they don't have skin in the game, they're like, why aren't you transforming me? So it's funny because what I learned with it is actually, like I had people enroll in my $25,000 courses that had to take out loans to participate. And I had other people that were able to just cut a check for 25 grand because they were older and they had the money, like, you know, sitting around or whatever. And there was I noticed there was a much different like energy of initiative that went into it. It's like, so for some people, money is a leverage. For some people, it isn't. But how do you evoke the transformation or change? Like somebody has to be in a specific amount or a specific set of pain. And that's often why I say like being fed up is the most powerful position you can be in, because that's when like, boom, things like actually you start to move mountains very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of my own experience. I remember when I borrowed money for my studies, I was committed. And I saw the kids in my business school, like I went, your parents paid for this, right? I can see it. hey, shut up, you're making me lose. You just made me lose like $100 by speaking. So yeah, definitely a different level of commitment when you go, depending on how much skin you have in the game. So yeah, that's interesting. It's actually what I have is also like a 12-week program with like an $1,800 ticket. So it's something that's interesting. So I'm enjoying hearing you speaking about this. It's very inspiring. There's a couple of things that came up, but I forgot now what it was. No, I'm appreciating there's a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of content. There's a lot of content coming out, and there's a lot of yeah, I'm calling it content, but what you're saying really speaks to me at the moment. And yeah, it sounds fascinating, sounds awesome, and I'd love to know more about it. So I guess I'm gonna look into the YouTube your YouTube channel. Oh yeah, what came up was and this is, excuse me if I'm seeing a challenge that coming, but what I'm seeing is like, so you want to gather people, right? You want to gather people, and it's probably going to happen a lot online, and it's going to be, I don't know, maybe around the YouTube channel, maybe a group, etc., etc. And I was thinking, like, if Facebook already closed a group that was 100,000 people strong, or like he got banned out of a group of 8,000 people, I was thinking, I'm seeing this coming again, but like, I don't want to be like manifesting anything. So, but the question is maybe, how do you see yourself creating this group, gathering people in a group, in an online presence, because you want an international offering with an international community? How do you see yourself structuring this in a way that is not vulnerable to being banned by a simple whim of Facebook or Google?
Great question. It's all in-house. Once somebody, like for instance, the doorway is the email list, right? So once somebody offers their email, I then have a direct one-to-one thread of communication with that person. I have my programs all set up. All the products digitally that I have set up is on a program called Kajabi, which is like Teachable. It's basically a place where all of the courses are hosted. So inside the membership community, that's where you go to listen to the recordings. And that's also where, through the email, I will be sending out like the Zoom links for the classes, the live classes, keeping people up to date, that sort of thing. There's also a group forum that is there where we can communicate a bit more through whatever it is that's going on, so that there's not any influence between. Basically, my goal is to get social media out of the communication that I have with my community.
Okay, so Google would, to ban you, they would have to ban like something like Teachable, and so you're protected by this bigger, strong structure which hosts a lot of other also courses, and it hosts you too. Yeah. So you're not alone in this. You're kind of in this bigger structure of like Teachable, or the one that you just mentioned that I forgot the name.
Yeah, Kajabi.
Kajabi. Oh, I got another great question for you.
Okay, ready.
So I don't speak like language. I don't identify as a channeler. I definitely practice a lot of mindfulness, been practicing meditation for over 20 years, definitely have been through like my spiritual journey and everything. Trained and qualified and experienced in breathwork, clarity breathwork more specifically. I've created, I've done a lot of therapy, learned all the structure, all the theory, and can apply that. I have a lot of tools to help my clients and work very intuitively with my clients. However, again, I don't identify as a light language speaker.
I want to stop you right there.
Yeah.
You just said you connect very intuitively with your clients.
Well, it's something that just happens. I don't even necessarily, now I started calling it intuition because I live in Ubud and we talk about intuition, and I'm working on listening to my intuition, my higher self, etc. But it's just like I'm hearing something and boom, an idea comes and I ask a question. And they go, holy moly, that is a really good question. And it kind of helps them drop deep, and it hits generally a really good spot. However, and this could be a question for other people, I do not specifically identify, I don't know your field of work specifically, and I do not identify as a channeler, light worker, etc., etc. What could you, how would you speak to that, and how do I see that I am a good fit for Cosmic Bloom?
Yeah, beautiful, great question. I would say you're so close. That's what I would say.
So close.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, it's semantics. Like it's learning the vocabulary, right? It's the biggest thing between conscious and unconscious. The difference is that when you are conscious to something, you know what it is and what you're doing. When you are unconscious to something, you don't know what it is and you don't know that you're doing it, but you already are doing it. So the biggest difference and one of the biggest changes in teaching people how to develop their psychic abilities, one is to let everybody know what the psychic abilities are and that you are already using them, you just don't know. So when we start to bring that awareness into play, then we're able to actually find what is the ability that is the strongest, meaning what is the most natural one. For you, it might be clairaudience. Clairaudience is the ability to hear. So you may be hearing a note from their higher self. It's like, hey, ask this question. And then your higher self sends that message to your cognitive brain, your personality, your egoic mind that says, okay, ask this question. And then you decide to actually listen to it. And because you decide to actually listen to it and act on it, you just received a message from their higher self that comes to you that says, okay, here we go. But if you don't know how that works, you don't know how that stream of information happens, you're like, it just comes out of nowhere. I get it. It feels like it comes out of nowhere, but it doesn't. There's actually a way that it fully works. And that there is a full-blown spiritual mechanism. And I say spiritual, to me, I don't actually identify with that word. I didn't identify with light worker for a really, really long time. And there's other things, like for me, I've just always been, well, I'm psychic. People like, whoa, that word, what do we do with that word? I'm like, okay, it's not that crazy. We just settle down. Like we are all energy beings before we are physical beings. As we tune into our energetic body is capable of communicating to our physical body. When we learn how to consciously, using our egoic mind, to tune into what our energy body and what our physical body and what our emotional pain body is trying to tell us, then we create the freeways or the highways of information where there is a direct dialogue going on. So you may not identify with it now because you haven't quite learned the terminology or the vocabulary or the mechanisms as to which it's working, but it is working. And this is one of the things that I also say with breathwork facilitators. A lot of breathwork facilitators have no idea what's happening in the energetic body when they are offering breathwork. A lot of EFT practitioners don't know what's going on in the energetic body when they're offering EFT. They just go, we just know that it works. Okay, well, what if you could know how it works? And if you then know how it works, your entire scope of what is possible starts to change, because when you're able to hold a space where you actually know what's happening in the energetic body when a person is breathing and releasing trauma, then you then know inside of yourself, you're more confident in your ability to hold space, and that person actually is able and capable of going much, 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 much deeper within themselves.
Yeah, you that's a really good point. I was going to, you just linked two words that I wanted to link together, was identifying what we're doing, knowing specifically what we're doing, and which bring confidence. I know
Mhm.
I have become way more confident about what I'm doing because I know what's happening. I know it works. And as a matter of fact, actually, I have like I kind of had very deep experiences in my body in breath work. So like remarkable trauma release experiences. So I kind of now can know what the range of experiences that are going on in the body and where it comes from, the nervous systems, and how we store memories in our body, in the cells of our body, etc., etc. And you do nail a kind of good point where identifying exactly what we do, understanding what we're doing brings a lot of confidence in it. And therefore more confidence, then it's easier to kind of recruit people on a mission and work the transformation with them.
Right. So what is the cellular memory? You said where the memories get stored in our cells. What is a cellular memory?
So I'll speak about my experience. I don't know that I can identify what a cellular memory is, but if I had to try, I would say that basically the cells in the body, or maybe it's the energetic body, because the cells do change. My experience was basically in a breathwork session. I was with one of my colleagues in my training. She's a senior therapist, so she always kept me out of my mind. Each time I was going into story, talking about things, she get me going back into my body and feeling my body. And so I got to feel all the sensations, bring them up. And basically I had a flashback. I was 3.5 years old. I was in my kitchen. I was sitting in front of my brother. I was next to my father. And there was a back and forth of question and answers. And long story short, I felt my mom had almost died. Mm-hmm. And I felt the emotions. And when I asked my dad, when's mom coming back? And he just didn't have an answer. And I felt his doubt, his fear, and his sadness. And as a 3.5 year old, my mom was the only thing I had in the world. I didn't really have a relationship with my brother, not with my father. And I was terrified. And so I just tensed up and held my breath. And when I felt I released all this tension, it felt like I released 34 years of tension and holding my breath. And since then, I have been infinitely more relaxed. I felt everything releasing in my bodies. And before, when they were saying cellular cleansing, cellular release, I was like, oh, bullshit, that's just hippie nonsense. And then I experienced it.
I want to just bookmark that really quick. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that day, I really experienced it. And I went, oh my God, it's real. This was all in my body. And I released it. And I was like, absolutely could not move for half an hour. And since then, I actually have my lung capacity has increased like 150%. I breathe 2.5 times more air in every breath since that moment. So that is my experience of cellular release and storing something in the cells of my body.
Right. Beautiful. I love that. Do you mind if I go into a teachable moment for a second to take it a step further?
Go for it.
Because you brought some really wonderful points up. Is the reason that I asked this is because everything is energy. So what is stored in the cells is energy. The cellular memory is an energetic imprint that imprints cells in our body that says, remember this. And as those cells regenerate, they're regenerating from that memory. So they regenerate and start creating. Once that memory is released, the cells actually don't regenerate based on that frequency imprint anymore. They actually start generating new cells that have new information. So when we release these things, this is what we mean when we actually say we're creating new space. You created new breathing room in your body. That's a tangible physical difference. You also said that people would talk about cellular memory and you'd say, oh, that's hogwash, that's hippie nonsense, blah, 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 blah. You're not the only one that says this kind of shenanigans. And not the only one that says it to me. I've heard it since I started wearing the name psychic. So, and this is like the conversation that I really, really love. And I really like to I get juiced up on, because it's when the wheels start turning to go, okay, you're already doing it. We just bring the awareness of, okay, well, this is how it's working. And so the other thing that I like to say to people is, when you were a little kid, you would eat food and you would then have to go to the bathroom, but you didn't know what happened. You just knew that you were hungry, and then you knew that you needed to go to the bathroom. But you didn't know about your esophagus or your stomach or your digestive tract or your gut system. You didn't know about any of that until you were taught. And now we're taught that we need to do all sorts of stuff for gut health. Whole other conversation. But with that information, I say it's the exact same thing for the energy body. We have the energy body in the same way that we have a stomach. We just don't know how to connect with it. We don't know how to use it, and we don't know how to nurture it. Once we learn that we have a stomach ulcer, we then know that we have to change things to be able to heal it. Well, the thing is that the stomach ulcer is a frequency that's going on in the energy body. It's an emotion, usually stress. If the stress isn't addressed, and stress is an emotion, stress is an energy form, stress is a frequency. It's a wavelength that we operate on. So for instance, when everyone in my family is entrepreneurs on my mom's side and my dad's side, which is why I feel that I have this like inclination to, business creation. And simultaneously, I was raised in a house where there was an underlying thing of stress. And the underlying thing of stress was the belief that I had to break down, similar to what you're saying, like there's a cellular memory going on, is that you weren't successful unless you were stressed. So even when my business, when I had like significant amount of money coming in, like I was at one point, I think my highest month, I had like 70,000 plus come in. I had $50,000 weeks. Like I had a lot of money coming in, yet I was still very, very stressed, financially stressed. So I'm going, what is this? Like, this isn't what it is. This doesn't match. But internally I had this thing that like, well, in order for me to fit in with my family, and in order for me to like, fit in all these things, but it was actually the energetic imprint that if I was financially stressed, and that meant that I was doing well. That meant that something was happening because of how I was pickled in the frequency. So then I had to detox myself of the frequency and of the underlying beliefs that weren't even my own. They were adopted. So then when we start working with the breath, and when we start working with tapping, and when we start working with channeling and learning how our energetic system works, like when you're meditating, you're probably channeling. It's about understanding how all parts of the system work together so that you can then really become the conscious co-creator of your physical world as the manifestation of what you've been able to create energetically. But to be an alchemist isn't to just see the vision, because visionaries can get very caught in the vision. I'm definitely guilty of it. Like the vision. And this is where people talk about their high level vision and sometimes it's just talk, because they haven't been able to actually alchemize it and embody it in the third dimension. So we take that point of clairvoyance. When you're visualizing, you're using your third eye, you're using your clairvoyance. So when you're in that space and then you learn how to embody it and actually start creating new cellular memory, that's when things really start to pick up, and that's when things really start to change. And also, of course, you have soul paths, soul lessons, karmic agreements, all these other like contrasting things that come into play, but you do get a lot more clarity on how to like maneuver the joysticks in your life to be able to shift your path, or also use your free will to completely align with, I call it the golden timeline, but with the line of energy or the timeline that is available for you at your absolute optimal, your absolute highest and best, where things are happening synchronistically and you're being called to a restaurant, you may not know why, but then you have a very synchronistic meeting, or you're thinking, I want to collaborate with friends, and then there's a post, and then you're like, oh, now we're here and this is a great conversation. It's like it's just like following the crumbs. But to be in alignment, to follow the crumbs because they feel good, or there's an idea. And so that's when, like, that's where I get really juiced up, and that's where I get really excited, is in also sharing with people that they're like, oh, that's hippie stuff. Oh, that's woo stuff. I don't really believe in it. Well, the thing is, you already actually had experiences that would help you believe it. You wanted to justify it in another way. And you can do that all day long. You can do that your entire life. Many, many people have. Or we can start to open to the possibility and just say, what if this is actually what it is? And if this is actually what it is, what else is out there and what else is possible? Now, when I started speaking light language, I had already been doing the psychic stuff for like 8 years. And for me, I was like, that's what those people do. Like, these people are astrologers. These people are the breathwork people. I'm a psychic. These are these people. I'm like, okay, those are the light work. Those are the light language people, whatever. Like, I even in this world, in this like spiritual community world, was like, no, that's what those people do. And then I had a very clear, direct experience within a matter of 10 minutes where my light language, where I was just speaking English, minding my business, meditating, and within a matter of 10 minutes from watching a YouTube video. I was very curious. I watched a YouTube video that was like 7 minutes long. And by the end of that video, I was already going. And then for 3 hours, could not stop speaking light language. My mouth just would not let me stop. I had, like, it just had to come out. And then I had crazy dreams for the next few days. And like I said, I've been leading the metaphysical club. So I had clients that I was already seeing consistently that know me pretty well. And I was like, this thing has happened. And I feel the need to share it with you all. Like, this is really profound. And since then, like I said, like 10 to 15 of them have started connecting to their light language. And it's ultimately what light language is. It's a soul language. We're able to activate that internal calling within ourselves. And that's why when people hear it, they go, I'm so drawn to it. I'm like mesmerized. It's like, what is it? And it's a reminder. It's a remembrance. It's like, we talk about cellular memory, where your cells were created by the combination of your mother's DNA, your father's DNA, and your soul, the energy body that came into this body. So you can work through this lifetime of, these are the memories that I have through this lifetime. You can work through the memories of what was going on past life, but then there's a cellular memory that goes on with your soul. And so your soul has memories that go far beyond your moment of incarnation. And so even one of the themes of the programs that I have is activate your soul memories. Our soul memories are inside of our heart. They're not in our body and they're not in our mind. But a lot of people in this world, their heart is very, very, very shut down. We're encouraged to numb. We're encouraged to dissociate. We're encouraged to go on Tinder. We're encouraged to like watch porn. We're encouraged to like do all these things, drink and numb out and all sorts of things that ultimately shut down our heart. But the capacity of the human heart is where the soul memories reside. It's where you learn your purpose. It's where you feel joy and love and expressed. Like, inside of that space it's through an open heart. It's not a Hallmark love kind of open heart. It is a mechanism of the spiritual body, the Hri chakra, that opens up, that connects to your own dragon essence, that connects to your own past lives, that connects to your own origination of where you came from. And that is really what we go into with Cosmic Bloom. Now that we're
all right, you got a lot of things in Cosmic Bloom.
Yes.
You said, yeah, there's a lot of points in here. First of all, I've been hearing about dragons quite a few times in this conversation. We can talk about that. The other thing is, I have had these experiences actually of feeling memories in my body. Actually, when I was doing my breathwork training, I had some really deep and remarkable experiences. And at some point I felt all this anger and hatred, like murderous rage that was not targeted. It was diffused, like it's like all the others. And it felt like, wait, that's clearly not my anger. I've never felt this before. And this is not familiar. I have nothing that could relate to with that. And what came is that it was the anger and the hatred and the furious rage of war, of people at war, hating everybody on the other side. And I'm half French, half English. So we've had a fair amount of war. Also in very recent history, my grandparents were basically in the Battle of like 5 years of war in Second World War. So it's like, oh my God, you can clearly carry stuff from other people. I also like felt like a lot of stuff. We were on like the Mother Lineage Day. The feminine just felt, without going into detail, like a lot of the emotion of all the mothers in my mother lineage that was pretty intense. I went, holy crap, like they've been through all that.
Yeah.
It was basically feeling like the anger of unwanted pregnancies and like things like that. I'm like, whoa, this was clearly not mine. So I hear what you're saying, and I can relate on some level to some of these experiences. Now let's talk about these dragons. What's happening with the dragons?
Mm.
Do you want to talk about dragons?
I do, but now I'm starting to feel a light channel come through. So I'm happy to talk about dragons, and let's do it little, like kind of in a more of a transmission space.
Okay, we can talk dragons another time if you want.
No, let's go for it. We were already going to do a transmission anyway, so let's just open the fields a little bit, open some insight. I already started with the prayer, but I'm going to say it again. As we call in divine truth and love into this sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for Eric and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. All right. So we know that dragons are here on the planet. We see them, especially in Asian culture. What we have been told is that they are mythical creatures and that they are not in existence here in this world. But on the contrary, in my experience, I connect with them in the fifth dimension. As a medium, I connect with people whose loved ones have passed, babies that are ready to incarnate, spirit guides, archangels, aliens, dragons, the whole thing. And I know that for some people that may be listening to this, that's like, whoa, that's a little bit too far. That's okay. That's okay. Just stay where you are and maybe just put on an ear of curiosity. So the seraphim dragons and the dragons themselves, they're a very high level of consciousness. They're a very high level of conscious awareness. I have had the experiences of activating my own dragon bodies multiple times. It was actually a very similar experience to speaking light language and also to channeling angels and archangels before I even started my business. This all happened just in my curiosity of the psychic exploration. And so opening the field of awareness to the possibilities just of dragon energy, of dragon magic, of going, okay, well, maybe they are in the same way, like similar to angels, that they connect with us on a very sacred geometric plane of communication and insight. I personally am born the year of 1988, which is the year of the Chinese dragon. So I also resonate very strongly with the energy of dragons. Yana ia ua satana hiikia ho'okonaku a kanakai. Itanai I o pua ua ha'atana ia sasana I kiana akua pu'ukua. And we already seeded this a little bit in connecting in with the awareness of the Hrit chakra in the center of the heart, the soul origination of the monad. Monad is actually the absolute spark of divine consciousness that is at the core of each and every single one of our souls. It is the exact same frequency that resonates at the core of the soul, or the core of the living presence of all living things. It is the energy of source. And so that monad, as we connect into the monad, Yatana susuna uapunakai, isiandakanai, isianatakai, ikianasatake, ayahanakai, ikanai, ikia uapunakai. Also activating your own lineage to the origination of your home frequency. There's a moment in time, if you can imagine, that there is a fractal or a splinter, however you want to say it, where the spark of divine creation started separating from source itself and started creating a new signature frequency, a frequency that was unique to itself, that would start to become a separation from the absolute core home of source energy. That signature frequency is the frequency that goes around your very own monad, that separates you from source to be able to create this massive journey from the origination of the center of the universe, however we want to call that, that brought you through many different lineages, many different portals, many different gateways, from being an infinite being of light outside of a physical body to choosing your parents at the moment of conception, remembering what it was like to go from an infinite being of light into a teeny tiny microscopic egg. And as that egg is gestating, as that fertilized egg is gestating inside of the womb of your own mother, there is awareness of your spirit being there as well, creating the energetic composition in the cellular memory from the DNA of your father and the DNA of your mother, as well as the DNA of your own signature frequency. In this space, you also have a direct connection to the dragon energy. This is the energy of miraculous birth. This is the energy of miraculous conception. Yatanai, ituanai, ituanai, ikuasatanai, ikaya, anai awaka, sutan ikiahu, akuapuna haakana, yakanakaya. It is said that the seraphim dragons and the dragons work in unison with the creation of source energy to birth thought into form. That they are part of the consciousness that has helped create this world that we are living in now, other planets and other galaxies as well. But that we are able to remember this when we connect in with the cellular memory. In some cases, we need to be reminded. And in some cases, we want to deny what it is that we are being reminded of. And we have recollection of this happening, even just in this lifetime. When someone will say, you said this, and you say, no, I didn't. You definitely said this. No, I didn't. It's similar to that there are experiences that we have that our egoic mind wants to protect us from actually experiencing, wants to protect our ego from actually experiencing these things. Because if what I'm saying has validity or truth to it, it's possible that there are a lot of belief systems that are now required to break down. And if the belief systems are required to break down, then in some way, shape, or form, that means that what the ego has believed up until this point has been wrong. And the ego doesn't always like being wrong. So we want to acknowledge all components of our own genetic and human makeup through our heart, through our egoic awareness, through our willingness to receive new information, and even just approach it with a what if. What if this is true? What if this is real? What if this information opens new doorways of potential in this life that I'm living? What if this really starts to open things? Now, I'm going to be honest. Connecting with dragon energy right away, especially if this is one of your first introductions to this kind of work, is a really, really big leap. It's a really big leap, which is why we like to start just ever so gently, massaging the egoic consciousness from the viral programs and systemic doctrines that we have all been programmed through. So when we start to wake up to our imagination is very real. Our imagination is actually the doorway to our clairvoyance, which is our ability to see in the fifth dimension and above. This is why visualization works. But when people talk about visualization or mindfulness activities, they don't actually acknowledge clairvoyance or the third eye. But ultimately, that's what we're doing. That's what we're using. To hear messages or to feel emotion or energy of others or to feel a gut feeling. This is all happening in the energetic body. So the energetic body is sort of an antenna. It's an antenna that encompasses the whole and also protects the heart, the soul. So taking a nice big deep breath and releasing, you can focus your energy at the base of your spine where your root chakra is, and connect the line of energy from your root chakra all the way down to the center of the earth. Iasanai ikua, iatanai iatanai, ikua uapua a, anai ikia ana iawa uapua ka. Just want to remind you that it is safe to explore in these realms. It is safe to explore in this world. It is safe to open your mind to the possibilities that a greater world exists than what you have been programmed to believe is true in the limits of your own imagination. That when you choose exploration, and when you choose to open your mind and heart, there is a brand new world of possibilities that will start opening for you in the most powerful and magnetic ways. Eanai uapa saka ona hiikianai. Itu unu ukuapa ayawa uapu nuku sasanai. Tunakai iawa haakapu. Go ahead and rub your palms together and place your hands on the heart. And just say whatever it is that you feel called to say or share with yourself in this moment. What is the message from you to you, allowing your higher self to connect that inner guidance?
I trust myself.
Woo!
That's my message from me to me.
Beautiful. And so now also coming back to the intention of the call, why we are here today. Feel into it using your own heart and using your own intuition. Is the opportunity with Cosmic Bloom something that you're interested in exploring? And you don't have to say it out loud here and now. It's more simply a question that I'm not only asking you, but also the hearts and people that are here tuning in. That in every single step of the way, there is no pressure, there is no force. There is simply an empowered, intuitive choice. 10 out of 10 of my clients have said that they have felt something in their intuitive knowing that said, go this way. Work with Sitara in this way, work with this tribe in this way. And so 100% across the board, it is my intention to bring in people that are soul aligned, that are heart aligned, that are connected with their intention for themselves, and know and believe that this is an opportunity that will supplement and better improve the quality of their life in the short term as well as in the long term. I'm in it for long term. I'm in it for I'm here, I'm awake. This is my life purpose. So my promise is to be awake with you. My promise is to be here with you. My promise is to continue to stay present through every twist and turn that this world puts us through, while doing what I can to expand the opportunities for those I love and for the people who I love that they also love. A love ring of opportunity. That's really what we're doing here. So Eric, I really want to say thank you so much for you. Thank you for leaning in and trusting yourself. Thank you for leaning in and trusting me. Thank you for this absolute beautiful conversation, connection. Did I answer your question about the dragons enough for today?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. There's a lot to explore there, let me tell you. Oh, beautiful. So just to close this little transmission-y space as we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self-love, and compassion. A little mini transmission session here today is complete. And otherwise, Eric, I feel like this is also a beautiful time for us to just kind of wrap it up. You know more about Cosmic Bloom now than anybody else. So thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for being that person for me right now in this space. It is an absolute beautiful and such a fun honor that it's us here right
Hey,
now. Hey,
you're welcome.
listen.
Happy to be of service.
Yes, yes, yes. Is there anything else I can offer? Any questions or anything that you'd like to add?
Maybe I could add a couple of things off the record. Right now for this call, I want to thank you for this call. I feel I know a lot more about what you do, about Cosmic Bloom. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It sounds amazing. I feel complete.
I do too. Beautiful. All right, so then to complete this, as we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self-love, and compassion, our chat, and what I would say the intentional gestation of Cosmic Bloom has now been invoked. Seed has been planted, intentions have been set. And with that, today we are very much complete. For those of you that are curious and interested, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Sitara Speaks, or also in the link in the description below. And if you are not watching this, now we'll just post on YouTube. Keep it that simple. All right, my loves, thank you so much.